New Year's Eve. My sister Brooklyn hurled a full glass of Merlot straight into my face on the 42nd floor rooftop terrace in Chicago because I wouldn't hand over the keys to my brand new Tesla Model S. "You're the most selfish person I've ever known," she screamed. "Brooklyn." Mom Diane snapped, stepping between us. "Don't you dare call me Mom anymore if you're going to side with her." Dad Curtis jumped in, his hand on Brooklyn's trembling shoulder. "She needs the car for client meetings. The Uber fares are killing her budget." I wiped the wine from my eyes, tasting the bitter residue on my lips, and smiled. Stepped to the balcony railing with the Willis Tower glowing behind me like a sentinel, and dialed my attorney. "It's exactly like you predicted," I whispered, turning away from the shocked crowd. "Activate the plan." 1 hour later, everything changed. My name is Hannah Caldwell. I'm 31, a senior financial analyst at a downtown private equity firm, owner of this 2-bedroom condo with Lake Michigan views that take your breath away, and the Tesla parked in premium valet below. I've spent years building a life no one can touch, until tonight, when everything I'd carefully constructed nearly collapsed. If your family ever tried to guilt trip you into handing over your hard-earned assets, you'll understand what happened next. Because the fallout? It starts right now. 2 years back, the first Venmo request hit after the NBA Finals. I was in my condo kitchen, meal prepping chicken and quinoa for the week, when the notification pinged. $900 from my sister Brooklyn. The memo read, "Emergency, lost investment. Need to cover before interest compounds." I stared at the screen, my thumb hovering over the blue pay button. Brooklyn Caldwell. 28 years old. She'd dropped out of Northwestern her junior year after declaring business school wasn't her vibe and had bounced between MLM schemes and cryptocurrency day trading ever since. Those trading apps kept her up until 3 in the morning, phone screen glowing blue under the covers in our parents' finished basement in Naperville, where she still lived rent-free. I transferred the money without a second thought. Family helps family, right? That single transfer opened the floodgates like breaking a dam. A month later, another request, this time for $1,400 after some tech stock crashed. "Bad timing on the sell," she texted with a shrugging emoji. I sent it. Then $4,000 during an options trade gone wrong because the market moved against me. Each time, I told myself it was temporary. Brooklyn promised she'd pay everything back once her big break came through. She filled out applications for marketing positions and sales jobs, but interviews never materialized into offers. The apps were easier, quick highs, devastating lows, the addictive rush of maybe this time. Her boyfriend Trent Backer entered the picture 6 months into this pattern. 29, sharp-dressed, working as a financial consultant at a second-tier investment firm in Schaumburg. He spotted Brooklyn's losing streak at a rooftop bar in River North and slid into conversation with advice on leveraging credit for strategic opportunities. Trent knew the system inside and out, how to layer personal loans, exploit balance transfer offers, bury fees in fine print that nobody reads until it's too late. He started appearing at family dinners at our parents' house in Naperville, a comfortable split-level ranch where Grandma Lorraine had her own suite downstairs since Grandpa passed 3 years ago. Mom Diane Caldwell, 58, managed the front office at an orthodontist's practice in downtown Naperville. She'd slip Brooklyn cash from her paycheck, folding 20s into her palm when she thought I wasn't watching from across the kitchen. "She's trying to get on her feet," Mom would say defensively if I questioned it. "Not everyone has your advantages, Hannah." Dad Curtis Caldwell, 61, drove for Lyft on weekends to supplement his teacher's pension. He set up recurring Venmo transfers, $500 monthly, with memos like gas for networking meetings and professional wardrobe fund. Brooklyn used it to chase leveraged positions on Robinhood and pour money into Trent's can't-miss investment tips. I kept track in a private Excel spreadsheet. Column B, date. Column C, amount. Column D, stated reason. Column E, actual use. When I could verify it, the total climbed. $2,500 after March Madness when Brooklyn's betting pool collapsed. $1,800 for a sure thing crypto pre-sale that tanked within a week. By the end of that first year, I'd wired over $12,000 to my baby sister. Brooklyn stopped mentioning payback entirely. Her text shifted to casual assumptions. "Can you spot me $1,000 for rent this month?" Our parents' basement had rules posted on the fridge, but she bent every single one. Trent pushed harder, always in her ear. He drove Brooklyn to coffee shops on slow afternoons, laptop open, showing her arbitrage opportunities. Buy undervalued assets, flip for profit, your sister's credit score is pristine, he said once over brunch at my condo, stabbing his fork into Eggs Benedict. I'd laughed it off nervously. Trent had smiled, but his eyes were calculating, already running numbers. He started drafting mock investment proposals on his laptop during visits, practicing pitch language, testing approaches. Grandma Lorraine watched everything from her favorite recliner in the living room during Sunday visits. 80 years old and sharp as surgical steel, she'd moved in with Mom and Dad after her hip replacement surgery left her needing ground floor accessibility. She didn't say much, just observed, Brooklyn pacing with her phone pressed to her ear, Trent whispering in corners, my parents enabling with the best intentions and the worst judgment. Lorraine pulled me aside one Sunday afternoon while I loaded the dishwasher, her arthritic hands surprisingly firm on my wrist. Keep your receipts, Hannah, she murmured, voice low enough that Mom wouldn't hear from the dining room. People like that don't change without consequences forcing their hand. I'd ignored the warning at first, brushing it off as generational cynicism. Another transfer for $1,100 when Brooklyn claimed her laptop died, though I'd seen her posting Instagram stories from it that same week. The spreadsheet hit $17,000 total. I started declining smaller requests, suggesting budgeting apps like Mint and Anab instead of just throwing money at problems. Brooklyn sulked for days, then escalated her tactics. You make six figures downtown, she'd texted, each word a little dagger. What's a few hundred to you? I'm family. Mom kept a spare key to my condo on her caring for emergencies. She'd used it exactly once, to water my plants while I traveled to Boston for a conference. Dad texted regular updates on Brooklyn's progress, new resume drafted, interview outfit purchased, networking event attended. The lies stacked up like Jenga blocks waiting to collapse. Trent sent me a LinkedIn connection request. His profile boasted wealth strategist, creative financial solutions, helping clients maximize opportunity. Every corporate buzzword in the book, zero substance behind any of it. By the 18-month mark, my spreadsheet showed $21,000 transferred. Brooklyn's requests came weekly now, the memos increasingly vague. Need to square up some things covering a gap. Short-term bridge. I stopped responding immediately, letting notifications pile up in my phone like digital guilt trips. Trent messaged separately on Facebook Messenger, Brooklyn stressed, Hannah. One more bridge loan and she'll be positioned perfectly. Don't let your sister down. I blocked him temporarily, then permanently when he created a second account. Grandma Lorraine noticed the tension crackling through holiday dinners like static electricity. She sat at the head of the table, sipping chamomile tea, her eyes tracking every interaction, Brooklyn's forced smiles, Mom's defensive body language, Dad's desperate attempts at keeping peace, Trent's predatory patience. Family isn't an ATM machine, Lorraine said quietly one night as I helped her to her bedroom, her walker clicking against hardwood. And love isn't measured in wire transfers. I'd nodded, but the guilt still churned in my stomach. Brooklyn was blood. Trent had become family by association and manipulation. The pattern had solidified into concrete. Brooklyn bet bigger to chase losses, Trent enabled with schemes disguised as opportunity, Mom and Dad covered blindly with misguided compassion, and I became the safety net, watching money fly from my account like clockwork, my condo feeling less like home and more like collateral in someone else's game. Lorraine's words echoed in my mind, but I kept sending money until something shifted. Until the alerts started looking different. 3 months ago, my insurance app flashed an angry red notification. I was sitting at my desk downtown, mid-presentation about portfolio rebalancing, when the alert vibrated my phone hard enough that my manager glanced over with concern. I excused myself, stepping into the glass-walled conference room to check. Premium jumped by $374 monthly on the Tesla policy. My stomach dropped. I opened the details with shaking fingers. A new lien had appeared, tied to a co-signer agreement I had absolutely never signed. My name was listed as guarantor on a secondary loan for vehicle enhancement modifications, $50,000. The financing company's address matched the investment firm where Trent worked. I forwarded the PDF to my personal email immediately, heart hammering against my ribs. Back home that evening, I downloaded the file on my laptop, diving into metadata most people never think to check. Document properties showed, created by T. Backer at Schomburg Investment Solutions. Last modified 2 weeks ago. edited 17 times over the past quarter. The signature line showed my name in cursive that looked close enough to fool a quick glance. The H and the C were nearly perfect, but the middle letters were too uniform, lacking the natural variation of my actual handwriting. Someone had practiced. Traced. Forged. I pulled credit reports from all three bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. Hard inquiry from Schomburg Investment Solutions dated 3 weeks after Brooklyn's biggest trading loss, the one where she'd begged for $6,000 to cover margin calls. The loan amount, $50,000 for performance upgrades and luxury modifications. No such upgrades existed on my Tesla. It had rolled off the showroom floor completely stock, and I'd kept it that way intentionally. The loan contract routed monthly payments through a business account I traced back to an LLC registered in Trent's name. I printed everything, pages stacking on my kitchen counter like evidence at a crime scene. Mom had stopped by earlier with groceries, her way of showing love, using her spare key. She'd noticed the printer running hot. Work documents? She'd asked, setting down bags of produce. I'd nodded, sliding the growing stack into a manila folder. Just quarter-end reports. Dad texted later that evening, another $500 sent to Brooklyn for professional headshots and LinkedIn Premium. I screenshot it, added it to my evidence collection. Grandma Lorraine called during one of my weekend visits to Naperville. She'd made her way slowly down to the finished basement where Brooklyn's bedroom, really just a sectioned-off area with a curtain, revealed the chaos underneath the surface. Betting apps open on multiple devices. Printouts of Trent's investment scheme scattered across an old desk. Credit card statements with minimum payments circled in red Sharpied. I showed Lorraine the printouts over tea in her downstairs suite, away from Mom's protective hearing. She adjusted her reading glasses, examining the forged signature with the focused intensity of someone who'd worked 40 years as a paralegal. "Document everything, sweetheart," she whispered, glancing toward the ceiling where footsteps creaked overhead. Paper trails outlast promises and excuses. They outlast family loyalty. I contacted my attorney that night. Victoria Chen, 33, specialized in consumer fraud and identity theft. We'd connected through my firm's legal department after I'd helped with some financial analysis on a case. No family relation, no conflicts, just excellent reputation and a track record of winning. We met at a quiet cafe near Millennium Park the next morning, November drizzle coating the windows. I laid out my folder across the small table. Victoria flipped through pages methodically, nodding as patterns emerged. "Classic straw borrower scheme," she said, stirring her Americano. "They add you as co-signer without consent, use your credit to secure financing they can't get themselves, then default strategically. The damage hits your credit score while they pocket the money or assets." She outlined immediate steps: fraud alerts on all credit reports, formal dispute filed with the insurance company, potential police report for identity theft, cease and desist letters to establish boundaries. Victoria suggested something else too, something that made my hands go cold. Discrete audio recording in the Tesla. It's your property, so it's legal in Illinois as long as you're the one consenting. Park it in your building's valet, activate recording only when parked. Cloud sync, timestamped. If they discuss selling or transferring ownership, we capture it with perfect clarity. I ordered the device online that afternoon. 2-day shipping. Installed it myself in the center console, carefully wired to the car's battery for constant power, hidden behind the touchscreen panel where nobody would think to look. I froze the old joint account from my college years that I'd forgotten existed. Set up 2-factor authentication on every banking app, every investment account, every platform that touched my money. Victoria drafted cease and desist letters, held them in reserve pending escalation. She pulled Trent's employment records. His firm had 3 prior complaints about aggressive co-signing tactics and clients discovering unauthorized credit applications. The compliance department had swept everything under the rug with NDAs and small settlements. The loan officer who'd approved my forged application? Signed off without proper verification, without calling me, without following a single protocol. Victoria marked him for the lawsuit we both knew was coming. Back at the condo, I reviewed dashcam footage from recent weeks. I'd installed front and rear cameras after a hit and run in the parking garage 6 months earlier. Brooklyn had borrowed the Tesla twice for errands, returning it with fast food wrappers stuffed in the door pockets and Trent's cologne lingering on the driver's seat. One clip showed them sitting in my car in my own garage, Trent gesturing at paperwork spread across the dashboard, Brooklyn nodding along, audio muffled but body language crystal clear, coordination, conspiracy, calculated theft. Grandma Lorraine called midweek, voice shaking slightly. "Saw your sister sneaking out the back door last night with envelopes," she said. "Thick ones, Hannah. Business size with windows." I thanked her, added detailed notes to my growing case file, timestamps and all. Victoria reviewed everything I'd gathered. "Solid foundation," she emailed back within an hour. "Hold position until they force your hand. Don't confront yet. Let them feel confident. Confident people make mistakes." I adjusted my bank's autopay settings to exclude any new liens, monitored accounts daily like a hawk. The insurance company reversed the premium increase, marking it as pending investigation. My credit score had dipped 40 points from the unauthorized inquiry but stabilized once the fraud alert went active. Victoria prepared an affidavit, ready to file the moment we needed it. The setup felt coldly proactive, almost clinical, but necessary. I drove the Tesla to work each day, the microphone silent but armed, recording nothing until someone tried to start the engine without my key fob. Trent texted once, "Heard about that insurance glitch, dealership error, happens all the time. They'll fix it." I left it on read. Let him wonder. Mom asked why I'd changed the condo locks when she tried her spare key one afternoon. "Security upgrade," I'd replied smoothly. "Building management recommended it after some break-ins on lower floors." Grandma Lorraine sent a card in the mail, plain white envelope, her shaky handwriting on cardstock inside. "Strength lives in silence until silence becomes complicity. You're doing the right thing." I taped it inside the evidence folder, a talisman of validation. Victoria scheduled a follow-up meeting. "We wait for the trigger," she said, confidence radiating through the phone. "They always overreach. They can't help themselves. And when they do, we've got everything we need." String lights flickered over Lake Michigan like captured stars. The rooftop terrace buzzed with colleagues in sequin dresses and sharp suits, champagne flutes catching reflections from Chicago's skyline. I'd hosted the party in my condo building, 42nd floor, open bar, DJ spinning remixes of everything from Dua Lipa to classic Prince. Family mixed with my investment firm's team, the worlds I usually kept carefully separated now colliding under celebration's cover. Mom chatted animatedly with HR about orthodontics. Dad nursed a craft beer by the outdoor heaters, talking Cubs baseball with anyone who'd listen. Brooklyn arrived late with Trent, both dressed sharper than I'd seen them in months, her in a red cocktail dress that probably cost money she'd borrowed, him in a tailored suit that screamed trying too hard. The evening flowed smoothly at first, champagne and conversation, the countdown clock ticking toward midnight. I circulated through clusters of coworkers, introducing Brooklyn as my sister to analysts who asked about my holiday plans. She smiled, but her eyes kept darting toward the valet entrance 42 floors below, toward where my Tesla sat gleaming under fluorescent lights. Trent hovered near the catering table, phone out constantly, texting with the urgency of someone coordinating something they shouldn't be. Keisha Robinson, 35, my direct supervisor and the person who'd mentored me through every promotion, pulled me aside near the bar for a quick toast. "To absolutely crushing this year," she said, raising her glass high. "And to you finally taking that vacation time you've been hoarding." As midnight approached, the crowd migrated toward the railing for the fireworks show over Navy Pier. Brooklyn cornered me near the bar, her voice low but urgent, cutting through the music. "I need the Tesla keys," she said. Not asked. Demanded. "Right now, Hannah." Colleagues nearby pretended not to hear, but I caught phones angling subtly, the way people do when drama unfolds and they want proof later. I shook my head, keeping my voice steady. "We've talked about this, Brooklyn." "The answer is no." Her face twisted, makeup cracking slightly around her eyes. "You owe me. After everything I've been through, everything this family has sacrificed, you owe me this." Trent appeared at her shoulder, his hand possessive on her waist. "Just the keys, Hannah. Don't make this harder than it needs to be." I stood my ground, heels planted firmly on concrete still warm from the day's heat. "I'm not giving you my car." Brooklyn snatched a full glass from a passing server's tray, Merlot, deep burgundy, the same color as her dress. For one frozen moment, I saw the decision form in her eyes, saw the rage and entitlement and years of enabling crash together. She hurled it forward. Liquid splashed across my face, my silver dress, droplets hitting my neck and collarbone. The glass shattered on the concrete behind me. Gasps rippled through the crowd like a shockwave. The DJ scratched to a stop, music dying mid-beat. Trent smirked from behind Brooklyn's shoulder, arms crossed, enjoying the show. Dad pushed through the circle of shocked onlookers, his face flushed red. She needs the car for client meetings, he barked, one hand gripping Brooklyn's shoulder protectively. There's a consulting opportunity in Evanston. Major potential. How can she succeed if her own sister won't help? Mom stepped forward next, her voice shaking with fury I'd never heard before. If you can't support your family when they need you most, don't bother calling me Mom anymore. Her words sliced through the cold December air sharper than any knife. I raised you better than this selfishness. The DJ had lowered the music to nothing. Keisha stood off to the side, her phone steady in her hand, the red recording dot glowing unmistakably. She zoomed in without a word, capturing every second of the confrontation, every ugly moment. I stood there dripping, fabric clinging to my skin, but I kept my voice completely even. This ends tonight. All of it. Brooklyn lunged for my clutch purse where the Tesla key fob created a visible bulge. I sidestepped, heels steady despite wine soaking into the concrete. Building security hovered at the stairwell entrance, uncertain whose party this was, uncertain who had authority. Trent whispered something in Brooklyn's ear, and she backed off slightly, chest heaving with adrenaline. You'll regret this, she spat. When we're successful and you're alone, you'll regret everything. I excused myself through the stunned crowd, weaving past abandoned champagne flutes and wide-eyed coworkers. The balcony door slid open to brutal wind off the lake, cold enough to cut through wine-soaked fabric. Chicago's skyline pulsed with light, the countdown clock showed T-8 minutes to midnight. I leaned against the railing, pulled my phone with shaking hands, and dialed Victoria. She answered on the second ring, alert despite the late hour. Hannah. Status check, public demand for the keys, I said, forcing my voice steady despite wine drying sticky on my skin. Thrown drink. Parental disownment threats. Dad defending her actions. All of it captured on video by my supervisor. The recording device? Active since installation. Tesla's in valet. They're going to try for it tonight, I can feel it. Victoria's voice turned sharp, professional. Audio sync starts the moment they enter that vehicle. Stay visible at the party until midnight. Act completely normal. Let them think they've won. Let them think you're emotionally compromised and distracted. I hung up, wiped my face with cocktail napkins from my purse, hands still trembling slightly from adrenaline. Keisha met me at the terrace door, phone lowered but still recording. Sent you the full clip, she whispered, stepping close. HR will see this if you need it. Performance review backup. Whatever you need, I've got you documented. Thank you, I managed. Back inside, the party had resumed in that awkward way gatherings do after public conflict, everyone pretending nothing happened while talking about nothing else. Brooklyn sulked by the bar, Trent refilling her glass with whiskey now, something stronger. Mom avoided eye contact completely, clinging to Dad's arm like a life preserver. He shot me apologetic glances but said nothing more, the coward's compromise. The countdown began echoing from someone's phone connected to speakers. 10. 9. I raised a fresh champagne flute someone had pressed into my hand, forced my professional smile. To new beginnings. I called out to the crowd, my voice carrying over the noise. 7. 6. 5. Brooklyn glared across the rooftop, but stayed put. Trent checked his watch, impatient, calculating. 4. 3. 2. The sky exploded in color, fireworks over Navy Pier reflecting off Lake Michigan, bursts of gold and silver and blue painting everything in temporary magic. 1. Happy New Year! Cheers erupted. Hugs exchanged. Champagne corks popped. Auld Lang Syne started playing, people swaying and singing. I slipped away again to the balcony, wind whipping off the lake sharp enough to clear my head. Victoria texted, audio streaming live. Stay visible. Stand by, the call had been made. The trap was set. New Year's began on my terms, with evidence recording and Brooklyn walking straight into consequences she'd spent 2 years earning. Wind off Lake Michigan cut through my wine-stained dress as I leaned against the balcony railing, phone pressed to my ear. Victoria Chen confirmed remote activation. The device hidden in my Tesla's center console had begun streaming to her encrypted server, time-stamped and legally bulletproof. I slid the glass door shut behind me, re-entering the rooftop where fireworks still painted Chicago's skyline in cascading gold and crimson. Guests milled with phones raised high, capturing the spectacle over Navy Pier. The DJ had transitioned to upbeat celebration tracks, masking any lingering tension from Brooklyn's meltdown. 42 floors below in the parking garage, my Tesla Model S sat under harsh LED lights. Brooklyn and Trent had slipped away during the midnight toast, key somehow acquired. I'd learn later that Trent had sweet-talked the valet attendant with a story about me being too drunk to drive, showing him a fake text conversation he'd mocked up. The recording device captured every word. Engine off. Windows cracked for ventilation. Their voices low but crystal clear, confidence making them careless. Carvana pinged back, Trent announced, screen glow reflecting off the windshield. Instant offer, $68,000. Covers what we need, pockets us 15 clean after the loan payoff. Brooklyn laughed, giddy with adrenaline and champagne. She's going to lose her mind when the title transfer hits the DMV. Too late by then though. Already forged the seller packet, Trent directed, all business now. I'll process the VIN registration at my firm tomorrow before anyone's in the office. Buyer picks up by noon. Insurance still shows her as primary, system glitch works in our favor. Lender thinks the cosign is valid. Their plan unfolded in real time, timestamps ticking past 12:47 a.m. I stood near the elevator bank upstairs, earbuds in, listening to my sister and her boyfriend plot grand theft auto using my own vehicle. Keisha appeared at my elbow, brow furrowed with concern. You good? She whispered, noting my rigid posture. I tilted my phone screen. The live feed transcription was visible, words populating in real time. Her eyes went wide. Oh my God. Post it, I instructed quietly. Company Slack first. Family group chat second. Full audio file. Keisha didn't hesitate. She pulled out her phone and posted to our firm's main channel, 214 active users, holiday hangovers be damned. Audio file attached. Caption simple and devastating, active theft attempt against company employee. Tesla Model S, valued $68,000. Recorded confessions. Reactions flooded in immediately, shocked faces, fire emojis, a flurry of comments. The compliance bot auto-flagged it for executive review within 90 seconds. Keisha mirrored the post to my family group chat, Mom, Dad, Brooklyn, Grandma Lorraine, 3 cousins, 2 aunts. Audio embedded, playing on loop for anyone who tapped it. The Naperville house went radio silent initially. Mom's typing indicator appeared and disappeared 6 times without a message sending. Party energy shifted upstairs. Colleagues formed small clusters, glancing my direction with newfound respect mixed with shock. One junior analyst mouthed, "Holy shit." I nodded acknowledgement, kept moving through the crowd like nothing had changed. Victoria texted rapid-fire updates, transcript captured. Intent clear. Felony conspiracy to commit theft, fraud, identity theft. CCing Detective Morris at CPD Financial Crimes. Keisha tugged my sleeve toward a quiet alcove near the catering setup. Legal drive synced to cloud. HR notification sent. VP already responding, full support, whatever you need, company attorneys available. The fireworks finale boomed, grand cascades over the lake, the whole city stopping to watch. Crowd on the rooftop cheered, glasses raised against the spectacle. Brooklyn re-entered alone, Trent still in the garage coordinating the sale. She scanned the rooftop, spotted me across the crowd, and veered toward the bar for another drink, liquid courage or celebration, hard to tell which. Dad intercepted her with a fresh beer, oblivious. Mom hovered nearby, her phone buzzing nonstop in her clutch purse. The family group chat had erupted. I could see it reflected in her face, the color draining as she finally listened to the audio file. Dad typed something in the chat, "Explain this right now." Mom followed with a voice note, her words shaky and pleading, "Brooklyn, baby, tell me this isn't real. Tell me it's edited or something." Brooklyn exited the family chat entirely. Just left. Disappeared from the participant list. Grandma Lorraine pinged me privately from Naperville. Proud of you, darling. Truth always rises. I sent back a single red heart emoji. The audio recording wrapped at 1:23 a.m., engine starting, tires echoing up the parking ramp as Trent pulled my Tesla out onto Michigan Avenue. Victoria archived everything with cryptographic checksums to prove authenticity. Keisha exported backups to 3 separate cloud services. The rooftop cleared steadily as guests called rideshares and Ubers, collecting coats and saying those elongated goodbyes people make when they're drunk and emotional. I stacked abandoned champagne flutes on serving trays, my mind cataloging next moves like a strategic planning session. Valet logs would confirm the Tesla's departure time, security footage would show Trent driving it away. Between the recording, the video, the digital evidence, and witness statements, we had an airtight case. Keisha lingered last, helping me gather scattered napkins and empty bottles. Monday morning, she said, hugging me quickly. Full debrief. We'll have your back completely. The elevator descended smoothly. My condo door locked behind me at 2:47 a.m., the sounds of celebration finally silenced. I kicked off my heels, peeled off the wine-stained dress, and stood in my bathroom under fluorescent lights, looking at my own reflection. My phone pinged. Victoria, final upload complete. Evidence locked, loaded, and legally bulletproof. Get some sleep. Tomorrow we file everything. I set my phone on the charger, crawled into bed, and slept better than I had in 2 years. Because for once, I wasn't the one losing. They were January 1st dawned gray over Chicago, clouds hanging low enough to brush the skyscrapers. I brewed French press coffee in my condo kitchen, sunlight struggling through the weather to paint weak shadows across marble countertops. I'd kept notifications muted overnight, letting the chaos percolate without my direct involvement. The intercom buzzed at 9:14 a.m., shrill and insistent. Lobby camera revealed Brooklyn, Trent, and Mom huddled at the entrance like a delegation. Brooklyn gripped a black leather messenger bag. Trent clutched manila folders under his arm. Mom shifted her weight between feet, scanning the intercom panel with barely controlled panic. I answered, audio only. Voice calm as still water. State your purpose. Mom leaned forward first, her face too close to the camera. Let us up immediately, Hannah. We need to discuss last night's massive misunderstanding. As a family. No visitors without 24-hour advance notice, I stated, reciting building policy verbatim. Security enforces it strictly. Brooklyn pushed closer to the speaker, breath fogging in the cold. This isn't a request. Open the door. We have paperwork to fix the insurance situation. Trent waved his folders at the camera. Quick signatures, 10 minutes, everything resolved. I pressed the red deny button. The screen flashed. Access rejected, visitor authorization required. Their voices echoed in the marble lobby, volume rising as they argued among themselves. Brooklyn kicked the brushed steel baseboard lightly in frustration. Trent paced, phone pressed to his ear, likely trying to reach the valet or building management. Mom pressed the buzzer 7 more times in rapid succession, each buzz more desperate. Building security arrived within 6 minutes, 2 guards in Navy uniforms with Tribune Tower security patches. They spoke firmly but professionally, gesturing toward the revolving exit doors. Brooklyn protested loudly enough that her voice carried through the intercom audio. Trent tucked his folders inside his wool coat, playing innocent. Mom trailed behind as the guards escorted all 3 out to the sidewalk. The lobby camera feed cut back to empty silence. Just the doorman returning to his post, shaking his head. Victoria called while I poured my second cup of coffee, still in pajamas, the city waking up slowly outside floor-to-ceiling windows. Certified letters dispatched at 8:30 this morning, she reported, satisfaction clear in her voice. Courier service, signature required on all of them. Contents? Letter 1, Brooklyn Caldwell at the Naperville address. Formal cease and desist regarding all contact with your vehicles, accounts, and assets. Violation results in immediate legal action including restraining order. Letter 2, Trent Backer at Schaumburg Investment Solutions. Notice of intent to pursue criminal fraud charges. Copy to his compliance department and the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation. Letter 3, the lender who approved the forged cosigner loan. Complete dispute package with supporting affidavits, audio transcripts, metadata reports proving forgery. Demanding immediate loan cancellation and credit report correction. Tracking numbers? Live on the courier site. Expected delivery by 2 p.m. today. All require government ID and signature confirmation. Victoria continued, ticking through the morning's productivity. Credit Bureau disputes filed with all three agencies, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. Included your sworn affidavit, the forged document with metadata showing Trent's authorship, and the audio recording of their confession. Fraud alerts upgraded to active credit freezes. Police report filed? I asked, cradling the warm mug. Non-emergency report filed with Chicago PD's Financial Crimes Division at 7 a.m. Detective Angela Morris assigned. She specializes in identity theft and white-collar fraud. Case number emailed to you. She'll want a formal interview next week, but everything's documented so thoroughly that it's basically a formality at this point. I forwarded Victoria the security footage from this morning's lobby confrontation. Attempted unauthorized entry following explicit threats.